Hi, I'm Ms. Hagemeier, and I teach 8th grade social studies. Today I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what we've been doing in class, an example of the learning that we've done so far, how to communicate with me, and how to navigate our course. So when your student clicks on courses in Canvas and selects Social Studies Grade 8, 2021, Hagemeier, this is the first thing they will see. And I have 3 buttons here for them to click. This one says click to Zoom. This is how they get to the daily lessons. Most students have been able to do this quite easily. The daily lesson button here takes them to the list of days that has all of the work in it. And this virtual classroom button is more just for fun. I put some updates in there. I have some student shout outs in there right now, things like that. So let's go to the daily lesson. When you click on this, it takes you to a list of our units. We started with Unit 1, which was all about North Carolina history and the history of the original colonies, and we did our assignments through here. I've named each lesson with the date that it was taught. Keep in mind, I teach both A days and B days, the same lesson. So I have 2 different groups of students on these days, but they get the same work. And then I've also titled the lesson with what we learned in that class or what we did. So the first lesson we had was on North Carolina history, North Carolina guided notes, and WebQuest. So if we want to go back and review what they learned on Native Americans, you can click here, or on the 13 colonies, you can click here. So it shows you where you can find this information. And daily, students log in, and then they find the date for the lesson that we are on. So for instance, today was 10/6, so they could click here to see this lesson. So I'm going to show you kind of an example of what these lessons might look like. I'll click on the one that says French and Indian War. When they get in here, they can see the essential question, the objective for what they're doing with that day, and then there's the Zoom link again. And then I also have the slides that we go through with their guided notes. Each thing is hyperlinked so that they have access to it, and it goes directly to their assignments. So for one assignment that I want to show you guys a little bit of what we've done, after learning about the French and Indian War, we had some questions where they were to use maps to analyze, to answer some questions. So here's one of those examples. This question was a comparison of 2 maps, one before the French and Indian War and one after the French and Indian War. And they were asked, how does the end of the French and Indian War impact England's land holdings? And so they were to choose a correct answer based on their analysis of these 2 maps. So we can see that France originally has most of the land, Great Britain has very little here, and then looking at the key for this secondary map, the French territory is limited versus the British territory, which takes over. All right, so that would lead them to their answer here. That's just an example of some of the types of questions that we're using in this class, analyzing maps and primary sources in order to arrive at explanations for events in history. All right, so we have been studying for our second unit. We've been studying with the creation of America. So starting with the British Acts and Taxes and the French and Indian War. This is leading us into the rest of this unit, which is all on the American Revolution. So we'll get into those battles and the results or the end of the Revolutionary War. I also want to show you guys how you can best communicate with me. Again, if you go back to our homepage, you can go to courses, click on social studies. If you scroll to the bottom, I have a tab that says teacher information. This is where you can find all the information you would need to contact me. Students can use the inbox button on the side of Canvas to send me messages, but you can also email me. You can call or text me at this number. This is my Google Voice number. It is 252-491-1412. You can call or text me at any time, and if I don't get right back to you, give me about 24 hours and I'll be able to answer you back. And I also have here the letter that goes over the remind codes for each of your students' classes. So mine says Ms. Hagemeier, Social Studies, and just whatever block your child is in, they would need to type in this, or you could type in code for the correct class. You just text that to 81010 and you text that code, and that gets you signed up for reminders for my class. I send them out before we have a test, when there's assignments due, things like that. All right. So that's pretty much how you navigate my course. A couple other things that are on here that might be helpful. I have the live lessons link, which shows you just the schedule of when students should be in a live lesson with me. For grading, this just links you to the policies. Make sure you're checking PowerSchool in order to get to the grading. Students can access this from NC Ed Cloud. And that can get them to their PowerSchool, and they can check their grades there. You can filter to see what assignments are missing, because the assignments on Canvas are not fully complete. Those grades show you what's being done, but not everything from Canvas goes into PowerSchool. I take things that are more for mastery of standards into PowerSchool, and that's their official grade. So that's a little bit of insight into 8th grade social studies. I hope that this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to use that communication tab to communicate with me. I also have office hours every Tuesday at 8 a.m. that students can access through the Zoom link above if they need to come and get any extra help or any clarification. Thanks, and have a great day.